going to be the one that says it.
Yep.
This guy.
You had it ready. You had it queued up.
So you look, sometimes the answer no is all people need to hear. But
yeah.
In the world of, this is how things operate. Any single person becomes free. You assess whether or not you take a shot. There is something that's very intriguing about first round talent. I don't care what position. It's doubly intriguing when that person is a quarterback, considering that you're the Patriots. This is a person who was drafted 15th overall a year ago, who who some people had going as high as 6, and maybe you're not a fan at all. Some people had going as high as 6 to the Giants, who reached for Daniel Jones. That was the dangerous pick there. Haskins is by trade, and at least his pedigree coming out of college, was an accurate pocket passer who could stand up, step up in the pocket, move around, get the ball out quickly, accurate, had a big arm, lots of types of things that you would look for, and the Patriots tend to look for in quarterbacks, but everything we've seen on the field isn't remotely close to that guy. So based on the snapshot you've gotten from Dwayne Haskins, you want nothing to do with this.
No, and I think, if it comes, obviously the first thing that comes up is the work ethic stuff with what he was dealing with the Washington.
And I'm not saying I do either. I just want you to say it for the people.
Yeah. I think, but when you look at the biggest thing for me with Dwayne Haskins, more so than any of that stuff, is that he was in an absolutely perfect environment at Ohio State. Ohio State, when Dwayne Haskins was there, Terry McLaurin, who's now obviously on the Washington football team, also is a Pro Bowl level receiver, was like their wide receiver 3 on the depth chart there at Ohio State in Haskins' last year. They had him, they had Paris Campbell.
Yeah.
They were absolutely loaded at the skill position players, and all Haskins had to do was stand in a very clean pocket because nobody would touch him all game long because their offensive line was darn good as well, and just get the ball out and throw it to his playmakers and not screw up. And all of a sudden, he has all of this, kind of production, right? Just insane level production that last season at Ohio State. But I don't see a thrower, and I've never really seen a thrower that anticipates a whole lot of ball throws and makes a lot of doesn't make a ton of touch throws down the field either. I'm actually pulling up his 2019, my scouting report on him from the 2019 draft. And some of my things that I had first were, his front side flies open, which means that it's just a mechanical thing that leads to inaccuracies, doesn't anticipate, needs better feel for touch throws. Those are the types of things that if you're looking for the next guy in this offense, I mean, that doesn't exactly fit the bill of what the Patriots want. And I think that's the other big thing too, is Cam was a fine flyer, right? That was a fine decision at that time and everything to kind of go and make a flyer on it. But at the same time, now I think you need to really look at, what are you going to see in this offense moving forward? Is it going to be still this Brady, type of get the ball out, throw it on time, make anticipatory throws, be accurate with the football? If that's it, then you need to draft a guy that fits that bill, or even acquire a guy that fits that bill. That's definitely not Dwayne Haskins.
I'll just ask, if Dwayne Haskins had been drafted by the Patriots, would you give up on him this quickly?
If he was doing the stuff that he was doing off the field and going to strip clubs during COVID and without a mask on and all that type of stuff and not showing up for meetings, and yes, I think I would. But if he was playing the way he was playing on the field without all of that rest of that stuff, then maybe not. Maybe we're having a different discussion.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, to me, the only enticing thing is even if you take him up on waivers, you're talking about $4.75 million guaranteed, which is not a ton of money.
I wouldn't pay him that. If they're going to pick him up,
realistically, you're talking about him clearing waivers and then just taking a flyer for nothing. And if that happens, a flyer for nothing is a flyer for nothing. That's all. These are lottery tickets. These aren't. I
do agree that I would like in camp next year to see a Dwayne Haskins type quarterback on the roster in training camp. You know, a reclamation project, right? A Dwayne Haskins, a Josh Rosen, you know, somebody like that who has some high upside, who was maybe a former first round pick or something like that.
And
not
you wonder if
starter.
their
That
situation
can't be your guy.
damaged them as much as their ability. You know, with quarterbacks more than anything, I think situation is huge. You know, meaning you've seen how many quarterbacks under one regime or one system looked completely lost, that you'd given up on them, and then they get somewhere else and you're like, oh, they can play. I guess it was just you just end up in the wrong place, and it can really derail your career right at the start.
Yeah.
Haskins might not be one of those guys. It's very likely he's not. But again, it's the situation matters.
Right. And I agree with that. I would, like I said, I would like to see if he's your third quarterback, if he's your fourth quarterback in camp, you give him some reps with the second team. Maybe you play him in some of the preseason games at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, see what he has. That's perfectly fine. But you're not going to invest in a guy like Dwayne Haskins to be any sort of part of the future or the answer or anything like that. You definitely need to find somebody that's better than that to hitch your wagon to in terms of the starter.